Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. White is gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh, Santi's getting it up 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick onto Linky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K!
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Hello, good afternoon, evening, whatever. Well, it's probably evening, it's late. If I had a nickel for every time NA players were playing late, but hey, listen, it is what it is. More Season 16 CGL playoffs coming your way. This time the NA Diamond Division, Aura Fury, Wawa Gaming squaring up. I'm Megalast, that's Soav. Soav, how we doing?
Night for some Overwatch in the losers finals of Diamond class, and you know, we were kind of talking a little bit. It's just we're just by the books here. It's number 3, number 4 coming in the losers bracket, fighting their way up, but there's still plenty of chance to upset, as there's still, you know, number 1 and number 2 ahead of them. So a lot on the line, considering it is lose and go home for these top 4 teams.
Exactly, elimination looming here as we get a quick look at our schedule, because there's been so many matches, so much stuff that you gotta keep up with. Earlier today in EU, you had Smelvin. Wait, Smelvin Industries lost weight. I'm sad. Those are the old heads.
That's crazy. Wait, yeah, that's crazy. Smelvin Industries falling is actually tragic.
Listen, the old heads unfortunately couldn't keep up here, but then as you see, Aura Fury, Wawa Gaming kicking off, or ending rather, our Friday night here. There's only so many matches left, so these playoffs, they're starting to wind down, as you see here.
Yeah, as I say, and this weekend is sure going to be a bunch of them. There are going to be games all weekend, so make sure you stay tuned for all those across CGL, CGL2, and that, I think including even South America. We're looking at South America finals, which if you have not seen South America play, go watch. They are a blast. They are very talented, but that's neither here nor there, because we have this game to match. And you know, last, considering both of these teams have played in very well and made it this far, I mean, Aura Fury did make it this far. They have not, you know, they are looking back. If they win, they get their grudge match against the team that brought them down here. And Wawa Gaming, well, they lost against the number 1 seed. So, you know, they are probably a little bit fired up, kind of looking ahead down the road at the final boss. So we'll have to see who's got their mind in the here and now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this matchup here. Like you said, you know, regular season standings put these teams neck and neck, 3 and 4 seed here. So should be a good one, but it's predictable. It's tried and true. I don't think any team has picked a map besides Lijiang Tower to start series off here in the playoff.
That's not true. We had an Oasis like last night, and that was exciting. But like we kind of said, by the numbers, this is exactly what the teams want to do. We want to play where we're comfortable. We want to play where we've scrimmed and practiced, and even more importantly, where we have footage and VODs of our teams coming in. So you want to know, you want to kind of keep the playing field as level as you can, and especially on map 1, this is probably the levelest playing field for all these teams. I think the real question now, last, is going to be what happens when we get to the ban phase. We'll kind of get a look at who really did do their research going into this, and it will be Aura Fury banning first. So, you know, with it being control, it's going to be kind of a tough one. We have seen a lot of different looks out of many of these teams, but considering that this does kind of tend to favor, and we've seen a lot of teams favor Brawly comps that with a Lucio, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw maybe teams looking to kind of take away pieces, you know, the Reaper, the Zarya, those kinds of things first.
Yeah, lots of meta picks have been floating around like that. You mentioned the Reaper and Zarya certainly being problematic forces on the battlefield here. Of course, you know, you have those supports you can always lean into as well here, but as the countdown happens, speculate no more. Aura Fury's going to be banning out the Ramatra here, so that standard tried and true brawl not going to be an option here. This could mean some of that Zarya gameplay like you're talking about, or you might have to pivot over to something like the Orisia or the Reinhardt to keep the brawl alive.
Yeah, and that makes me kind of think that maybe Orifuri want to be looking to dive. So if you're Wawa gaming, I mean, you might even look to consider forcing something like a poke, taking away the Lucio, taking away something very strong. Taking okay, Pharah. Yeah, Pharah does get a lot of play on this pool, so I'm not shocked, especially if that turns out to be some sort of a target ban here. Like these are very valid picks for a first map.
Certainly, we know that Pharah can be a menace, like you said, very niche pick on Lijiang, but can absolutely take over the skies and be a thorn in the side to try to deal with here. So, as we get a look at our squads here, you got some recognizable names like Feastus that stick out in my mind here, but overall, both these squads, they know what they're here for. Like we said, that elimination looming, and they definitely want to keep fighting.
Yeah, and this is an interesting tier, last, because Diamond is one of those levels where, people's mechanics are good, but maybe not up to the greatest. So a lot of this can kind of turn onto the team play. We'll have to see what happens when we get into there, because just kind of eyeing these lineups, you can very clearly tell what Orifuri wants to do. They want to get in, they want to go aggressive, they want to dive, but we'll have to see what happens, because with those bans coming in, it may change a lot of those. Plus, I mean, Pigeon is a very good hit scan, so I would not be shocked to see them kind of turn around and just kind of take over the lobby if the Sojourn gets unchecked.
Yeah, I mean, having those DPS that go unchecked, unrained, if you will, here, you sometimes can see sort of be the menace of the lobby that you have to contend with here. But as we're sitting in the spawn rooms, Wawa Gaming, hovering over a variant that has that Reaper like you were talking about. I say that though, and Momo Monkey decides to immediately go over to the Symmetra, at least for an initial teleport here. Whereas Orifuri, this is a bit of a dive composition now.
Yeah, I mean, we're in pretty traditional dive. The difference is that we're going to see P-Bach basically play a little bit more defensive as opposed to a little bit more fleeting. They're going to have to be the one to protect Gato, because we'll see a reason over to the Tracer. Momo is going to go back to the Reaper. So again, Wawa Gaming is going to come out. They're going to play the Mauga Brawl, which I do like a bit, especially with the extra firepower. We've seen this comp pretty tried and true, and it is difficult to put a leash on sometimes.
Gets started, it can keep on going here, but that's a beautiful way to start it off here with 2 picks here. So now the Malga has been isolated, no speed boost to keep Slash running around here. Keeping out of LOS of those miniguns is the name of the game here. The Reaper going to be focused down at the very end, and just like that, Orifuri decimates with their dive.
Yeah, I mean, Orifuri did just have the angles. Gato there up on that front, we had that beautiful angle. They were just on that high ground. They were able to kind of land those nades in and kind of isolate. A bit of aggression from Slash Castle, who gives that Malga goes now to Diva. Yeah, I mean, they're just going to go ahead and match a little bit on the kind of dive style, except a little bit more defense.
Yeah, and so wanting to match as best you can here, Gato is going to be the first one to fall here, as the Ana is just vulnerable to those jumps, like you said here. Wawa Gaming now trying to establish pressure on the point, but they're having to fight for control of this white room. This Wrecking Ball and Tracer need to be pushed off the backline. Slash dedicating all the resources and attention to that. Meanwhile, this entire time, it's buying more time for that Ana to return to the fight here. So while Wawa Gaming can get the flip, this fight is still in progress here. 5v5 back on the field now. Momo Monkey going to be able to start it off with yet another entrance pick here, but you got to look for a little bit more. The Deadeye hoping to connect isn't going to come away with anything there. So now a reason is just trying to hide on the Tracer, doing what they can. Meanwhile, Orifuri is just stuck here, out of control.
Just a little bit stuck in the back line, but I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. Oh god.
Yeah, already into the next engagement here. Both squads throwing everything into the kitchen sink here. You see Festus go down. So now in a 3v3 situation, Orifuri trying desperately to get back into the point here. That pulse bomb going to have to connect. It does onto the Genji here, but this Diva is still alive. And meanwhile, the entire time, Wawa is in control of the point. It is going to be a little bit harder to do here, especially with the teleport and the Suzu perfectly placed to keep Wawa nice and healthy in this engagement. But now they have to keep somebody on the objective. Now the minefield thrown out from Potato are going to try to make a little bit of space combined with the Blade here. as it is finally kills coming up for Aura Fury here, but meanwhile Wawa still just getting uncontested percentage until they can be cleared off of this objective in the final moments. As it seems potentially we're having a few issues, but hey, listen, that's a-okay. We'll just keep it running here. Aura Fury now trying to run things and continue with their control that they have now, pushing forward a little bit in going into the spawn room. A little bit dangerous here, but it's exactly what you need now. Sound Barrier is going to allow Wawa to get some uncontested progress back over towards this objective. The Dragon Blade being pulled by Momo Monkey deep in the back line here onto these supports, finds one onto the Wu Young, looking for a little bit more, gets a nice slash onto the Genji, but not a kill just yet. And now Fest is able to follow that one up as the flip comes through onto the objective here. So now Wawa Gaming, while in control, finds themselves short-handed here. How long can this truly last as they try to stun up the ball? And now just continuing forward here, trying to see exactly what they can do. The pulse bomb ends up going wide from a reason, not able to do much of anything here. Meanwhile, Slash continue to hold that defense matrix, trying to see if potentially some pressure can be applied to these supports. Potato Boy going to have a nice slam here. The Lucio solo HP finally followed up on, but meanwhile, Wawa has got up to that 99% mark, so it is now Potato Boy who has to sit on the objective in that minefield, trying to contest here, because you can't step off for even a moment at this point. That overtime wick has a chance to burn, but the Tracer stepping up massively here for the side of Aura Fury, a reason doing exactly what you need to here. And so now with that Diva Bomb, though, you are going to see Aura Fury absolutely min-max out here, as Wawa Gaming is still trying to fight their way back into this one, trying to put some pressure onto Bach, on the Wu Young here. Not enough, as it seems it finally is going to be the thing to take them down here. Just a Wrecking Ball and a Genji alive for Aura Fury, trying to get into this one. The Dragon Blade doesn't even get a chance to come out, as now the overtime wick is burning. Potato Boy low on HP, burns that adaptive shield, going to have to run for their life, as Aura Fury is going to be silenced here, at least for the moment. Nobody else able to make it to the objective, and that's going to be a solid round one here. Back and forth affair, but keeps Wawa Gaming in control the way that they need to here. Aura Fury certainly having their moments, but the dive very difficult to execute with. The question now becomes, though, what is Aura Fury going to do now that they have a little bit more space? The wide open areas to work with here is going to sort of be the interesting thing, right? We saw a reason certainly being able to sync up with Potato Boy and come away with some massive potential there, but Wawa Gaming certainly showed that they can also press their advantage on the dive and sort of brute force situations in a way to make it in their favor here. We'll have to see as we are walking out of the spawn room here. Aura Fury trying to see what can be done. They have this Wrecking Ball, so they're going to be able to get to the objective first, have some solid positioning to go with it as well here. Meanwhile, Wawa rotating as a unit here, and they actually focus down onto Potato Boy, taking the Wrecking Ball from the engagement before anybody's able to do anything. Absolutely massive here. Pigeon finding a second one as well here. Wawa Gaming blinking, you miss it. They already have advantage in this fight, and they're going to be able to get the first cap. Absolutely amazing start for them, finding that one onto Potato Boy. You know, Wrecking Ball, not something you typically see as a first pick here, but Aura Fury just able to do any and everything to try to get into this one, because now they are struggling, to say the least here. That Wrecking Ball going to roll in a beautiful slam on the multiple members here is going to be followed up with a reason here. You get the one kill, but it is traded 1-for-1 here, and that's just not enough, especially when the rest of the follow-up is there for Wawa and Potato Boy. You know, roll through all you want, it's just not going to be enough here, as yet another reset has to come through for the side of Aura Fury here. Looking towards the ult banks, neither side is built up towards anything just yet here, but Wawa Gaming is certainly getting closer here. They have that advantage. The point percentage, the fight wins, is certainly edging them closer in quite a few categories, including that high noon from Pigeon here, that massive zoning tool that can exist here. The Diva Mech so incredibly low is going to be followed up, and that's a beautiful opening here for Aura Fury, potentially finally get onto this objective for the first time here. Following up onto the break, they get that elimination here, so now effectively in a 3v5, but make that 4 as Bach is going to go down here, and it seems like it's all but inevitable for Wawa Gaming to have to give up this objective. The slam is going to take the Kiriko out of the fight here, and so now Slash, who was able to get the mech back, is just here with a little bit of stall potential here. The Baby Diva can only sit for so long before having to try to do any and everything in this situation. The rally being committed, though, it seems as though Wawa wants to hold on to this one for at least a little bit longer, trying to see what this break can do here. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do against overwhelming odds, but building up towards that 99%, going to be in final fight territory anyway here. So Aura Fury, while they are going to get the point cap, they do have to battle all the way back.
Yeah, that's a long way to go. The good thing for the Mega, though, is that they do have 4 ults coming in, and they have a little bit of the positional advantage here. So, you know, they just kind of need to make sure they don't overcommit. And I like this use of mines just to buy space immediately.
Absolutely massive use of the mines here, because time is what you need right now. The pull from the slam here, be able to just get back up off that precarious situation for the Wrecking Ball player. So now Aura Fury trying to see if they can match Wawa here as this rotation comes through. You know, they have tons of tools to work with. You look towards bolster ultimates, you certainly have something you can pull in this fight, as Wawa has established themselves on the objective once again. Now the Kitsune Rush, along with some spin to win strategies, is going to be the reason Deadly Pants is removed from the fight. Looking sketchy for a bit as a trade occurs, but overall Festus is just going to be able to slash and dash the competition.
That's good. I would say saving Dragon Blade there is actually so big for Festus and for the side of Aura Fury. They already bought it up to 50%, and that's so much time bought. And now going into the next fight with matching blades and having Bach's Tidal Fury actually makes us so much easier, especially but with Potato Boy going down, that means that they are going to have to fight this from behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's the second time this map here, the sub-map rather, that they've been able to focus down the Wrecking Ball in this manner here. Trying to use that Wu Yang ultimate, the Tidal Blast, just try to keep somebody alive, but it seems like that's not going to be enough here. The Dragon Blade now being pulled, last ditch ever finds one onto the break here, but just needs a little bit more, as now we're on board with Pigeon. Is going to be the next focus fire target here. Is going to be able to be removed, but Potato Boy so low HP as the point flips over. You now have to get into contest. There's only so much healing that can be done in the face of a Genji and Diva, but it seems like the Wu Yang might be the answer here, as now with this ability, but the stun connects, so you don't even get the chance to get the minefield off. Absolutely massive rally from Deadly Pants here, and it seems like this might put the exclamation point on the map here. Trying to look for a little bit more here. Exactly what can be done is the question. The Kitsune, like you were saying, so just overbearing on top of the objective, as now the overtime wick burns and Wawa Gaming takes the map 2-0.
That was a brutal shot there for Pigeon too. Just that single alt click onto the tracer, just perfectly timed. I mean, Aura Fury looked good. I know I vanished into the void, but I caught clips of that on that second sub map. They looked very good on that take, and considering Wawa had the first blood, had the first capture on that point, the pieces were there. Everything kind of looked good, but it seems like they just kind of got a little bit cut off by everything. It seemed like when they tried to really kind of take the space and hold it, they maybe over-aggressed a little too much, and that's kind of the problem with those dive comps, particularly with Ball, is you sometimes feel a little invincible and feel like you can take and hold the space and harass too much, and then especially at this division where we're at Diamond, it's very easy to just get 3 or 4 to turn on you and punish you for it.
Yeah, Wawa, they certainly had enough of the Ball shenanigans after that first round, so they, you know, like you said, they were turning and reacting to it, just simply wanting to get it off of the field here, and that, you know, Aura Fury not making that further adaptation in terms of being potentially a little more passive on the Wrecking Ball could come back to bite them as Li Jiang slips through their hands. But now, with Wawa in control, Aura Fury showing that they want to lean into the dive here. Do you expect them to pick specifically dive maps moving forward, or do you think that they could try to switch up their strategies?
I do think they're going to try to take it. It was very clear that Wawa has answers to the dive comps. You know, they can kind of mirror, they can match with the Diva Tracer Genji combo there, but it's still not quite the same. So when you look at, you know, what do you want to be doing? Do you want to be playing ball? Yeah, a lot of those dive maps are pretty good for it, but ball also does get a lot of value if that's what you want to stick with on some of those flatter maps on places like Saravasa, where you can really kind of get around the architecture. So I do expect maybe to see something like a Gibraltar or an Umbani pop up, but we'll have to see if that's maybe telegraphing a bit too much, because if you give that much away, okay, you know, look, I'm just here for some Sigma gaming. Okay, are you gonna show me some Sigma? Like, I'm here for that.
It's potential that Sigma could come out here as we are on the Playground Circuit Royale, known as the Poke map. Sigma comes into play here. Of course, you do have some teams like to run some variants of the dive as well as brawl here, normally involving a Symmetra as well here. So it'll be interesting to see if that doesn't end up getting banned out, what the strategies are going to be here. Because like you said, this is a very big change of pace from what we were seeing on Lee Shang.
Yeah, Circuit Royale, we used to know it as the home of Sigma, but more so in history, it's been a poke map, like a more hard poke map where we're usually sitting up with like a Sigma and a Orisa, something that's very sturdy, while the DPS kind of make those plays, hit the shots, and kind of go through that. And I can kind of see where maybe you're feeling that, but I'm not really sold, because this again does telegraph a lot. Aura Fury will have first ban, and I'm not fairly sure what they want to do with it here. They will have the Ramatra back, which is probably their tank of choice for the most part. So I guess maybe they might try to either protect that and take another tank out, or perhaps they might try to get rid of something that's been very difficult, like that Wu Yang. I could see that being something they just did not have an answer to.
Yeah, the Wu Yang certainly can be a menace here, like you were saying. And, you know, we don't know, right? Because obviously from our top-down view, we could see something certainly be an issue, but something could be just a little more terrifying when you're in the server, in the moment here. And it seems like Aura Fury, we're scared of a Junker Queen that we didn't see on the first map here. I mean, sure, it limits your brawl options, but I feel like the map kind of did that for you anyway.
That feels like a protect more than a ban, honestly, Mega. Like I said, that feels like we're trying to keep some sort of brawl tank on the wire. And Wawa Gaming, I mean, they're probably not going to show us Junker Queen, but I could see them maybe trying to take away the Diva or trying to take away Ball from that case. So, I mean, the response is probably going to be something in the DPS lineup is my guess. I don't know what you were particularly scared of, because you've matched pretty much everything. So maybe just take away something map specific here. Yeah, Freya's map specific here. So that seems fine. You're not going to play that. You're going to typically play this over the Sojourn. So I buy that, especially if you'd rather just win the Sojourn duel.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will speak from personal experience. I'll take a Freya ban any day of the week. That character is a menace to society here. The way J. Jonah Jameson talks about Spider-Man, I will talk about Freya. Far too many times have I been a victim of the crossbow bolt. So absolutely ban and take that one out of here. But we are trying to see what else here, because like you said, it most likely will mean that we're heading over to the Sojourn. You can't ever rule out the double sniper potential, though. Things like the Widowmaker and the Hanzo certainly can come to play alongside the Sigma if you're playing these standard poke comps and things like that. So it's interesting to see what can be cooked up versus what will actually be, because like you said as well, we are operating in Diamond here, so maybe you have these niche heroes that you have in your pool you're a little bit more comfortable on, you can rock out with.
Yeah, this is also one of those cases where sometimes raw mechanics can just win out, and something like a Widowmaker or a Freya are just enough to get it. We saw Pigeon kind of catch that Tracer on those clicks with that single alt fire shot, and like I said, Pigeon's a dang good hit scan from what I've seen through the season, so it wouldn't shock me to even see that, because you know, it is Diamond, that sometimes mechanics can just carry enough. But I have to assume with this map pick being Aura Furies, they came ready for this. Like, they have plans for it. They have something in mind, because this is not a map you just kind of choose willy-nilly. You end up here because you want to do something in particular, and usually that's poke or let your DPS shine. So we'll have to see how they want to go about that. They could also just 180 me and just absolutely go into the full brawl with Sim, but they're going to choose. Okay, interesting. So Aura Fury's eyeing at the Festus Pharah, which was banned out. So that actually I don't hate. That would make a bit more sense with the reason over on the Ashe. is totally fine. Momo Monkey picking up that Sojourn and Pigeon still on the Cassidy makes sense here. And I think this backline is very sturdy. I love it. The Illari BAP is just so good. There's so much healing potential. There's so much escape and movement potential between them that I really think it's this kind of sturdier backline where you're going to maybe take a little less damage, but you're not worried about losing space too much. So we'll have to see if the kind of more damage potent Aura Fury comp that they're on stays and kind of outlasts for it, because Potato Boy has a lot of damage and things to contest here.
Lots to contest here, so we'll have to see, like you said, where the Wrecking Ball's value in lies here. It is going to be the ball coming over top here. Are they expecting the slam is the question. You will end up catching a hinder nade, but not much else.
Wow.
Well, it's a beautiful nade lineup from the Gato. Absolutely incredible there. So that's going to result in 2 quick picks here, and the defense immediately having to run for the hills.
I mean, that's just a great punishment and great recognition from Aura Fury. Look, you cannot multi-stack like that when you know someone's playing the ball. Their whole point is to disrupt you and punish big groups like that. So well done on them. They'll have a lead in the ult charge for it, but it's still in the neutral, and Potato Boy, once again, just punished immediately for their crimes.
Too far out of position here, so Wawa Gaming, again, going to be able to take care of that Wrecking Ball. No nade lineup to save this time here. And so now it's a bit of a poke war here. Everybody on Aura Fury just wanting to wait for the Wrecking Ball to get back into this one. Meanwhile, the defense trying to re-establish a solid angle here. Not going to be able to turn back into the first corner, but rather holding this outer lane here. Potato Boy so incredibly low. Ends up popping that adaptive shield, but still going to have to run for the hills to get some health packs. And this leaves the rest of the team vulnerable here. They're going to try to find some picks around the corner, but Pigeon already with one onto Gato here. Probably going to end this push before it can begin.
Oh, Pigeon just getting in there, clicking those heads, looking for a third. Beautifully done. Beautiful just control, just acknowledging, look, we'll let you have this corner because where we want to stand is so far back here, where now you're stuck on this short alleyway and you're answering to us where our supports are safe. Ult's coming online though, Lass. I mean, Pigeon leading the way. Festus is behind. A reason is going to go ahead and match the Sojourn. Yeah, like Ashe is okay here, but just outclassed in a lot of ways. So watch for Festus to try to get into a position off of a slam for this barrage. They should be coming up to that first perk as well, so they should be able to move with it as well.
Yeah, they're hoping to try to get some sort of synergy here. But again, Pigeon is the hero that steps up and gets that kill onto Gato, removing that major source of healing. You know, as Zenyatta, we love him as a damage dealer, but speaking of the damage here, just as I was about to say, it wasn't enough as the barrage ends up going wide, ends up catching a railgun to the face through the amplification matrix here. And while slightly short-handed, Wawa Gaming still has the numbers here. It seems like they're going to be able to hold.
There's a lot to unpack from that. We had the whiff barrage. We had the Ana getting picked for the 3rd time in a row. We had Potato Boy once again falling first victim, you know, to a little bit over stress here. But good news for Aura Fury, they have Trance up, and that should get them through this fight and across the line. But they have to get through this barrage of ultimates. So Bach needs to live, and Gato has to stay alive as well.
Yeah, we have to see what they end up using that Transcendence for here, because like you said, it's a lot of healing, but it can only counter out only so many ultimates here, as now trying to turn the corner is the side of Aura Fury. Nano onto the Wrecking Ball here, does manage to get the pick onto one, make it a second one with the slam, a third with some beautiful follow-up from the Zen here. So now the defense finally starting to crumble here. Deadly Pants in the last one to fall here, and with a little bit of time left on the bank, Aura Fury will be able to get point A capped.
I'm thinking back to that Junker Queen ban last, and I'm just not sure now, because it feels like it would have been maybe we're saving the ball ban for a later map. Maybe we're trying to force something else, but it just feels pertinent here that Potato Boy just gets to keep living.
Yeah. And so now Potato Boy trying to live here, but Slash is not going to be able to in the face of the OC. Meanwhile, this entire time, it's buying space for the payload to continue to rock forward here as they're trying to catch out this dispositioned Baptiste. But the question is, will they be able to follow it up, as we are just in a bit of a stagger? Ooh, beautiful pick. All right, yeah, so we are just rolling through here. Aura Fury now trying to reestablish an offensive plan here. They do have the barrage to work with, as well as a Transcendence still in the back pocket here, but Wawa obviously still has some tools of their own. We have to see how they push forward now, trying to hide from the overclock and annihilation combo here. A reason not going to be able to hide from that one caught in the sky is going to end up being a victim to it, and Aura Fury runs for the hills.
That was, I say, the interesting annihilation. I get the push, but that's a hard comp to really get value on that on. So really on Momo Monkey there for a great shot. I mean, Box still is holding on to this trance. Like, I get there's nothing really we're afraid of. Annihilation was probably it. So we might as well use it offensively, I think, at this point.
Yeah, that's the hope here, as now Ultimate slinging left, right, and center here. You're seeing Festus be able to pick up 3, but needs a little bit more here. All you Slash can do is cross the arms in the face of the other Omnic here. Zenyatta not able to do much more than that. Pigeon finds onto Gato, though, and so now the Zenyatta is a little bit alone. And to the rescue is Potato Boy here, trying to see if there can at least be some disruption to save this Zenyatta from the bad position that he finds himself in, able to live for the time being. But now reinforcements are here for both squads. Now what the investment could look like for either of these teams. You have a nano boost and other things that you can commit into this one. The slam goes through, a hinder catches on, and the nano as the Potato Boy is rolling out here. So now having to try to get back into the engagement as the Captive Sun is on the other foot here. It's going to be thrown out onto Gato, but in the meantime, the Iori is trying to do damage. The rest of your team needs a little bit of healing unless you can get all the kills yourself, and that does not seem to be the case. The Potato Boy will finish up onto the Iori and send this payload moving forward.
Heroic effort there from the support line, but it was just, unfortunately, kind of a fundamental. Ball gets to live and still cause problems. Ball, left alone, will eventually just damage you. Mines go out to make sure they get it across the point here. And, I mean, it's the right investment. Good boop to try to get Pigeon into those mines, but they'll get what they need here in time, probably without any real help.
Yeah. And so now it is just a cleanup here on the car for Aura Fury to keep themselves alive. It is in overtime, but point B is capped. And they will be moving indoors to the hotel.
Slowly but surely, a minute and a half means there's about fight, maybe 2 left. Slash Casual back over to their Ramatra there after thinking they maybe had to go themselves. But now that they're going to opt into the Diva here, I do think that's the right call. Kiri as well is a little bit better. Those purples have just been crucial in Aura Fury's success here. So this Kiri swap, okay, should have been a while ago to me. I like these changes, but unfortunately we'll see who's going to slowly disconnect there. I mean, I think these changes are good, but they're a little too late. We needed this Kiri a while ago. Those purples have been so important to like almost half of the plays that Aura Fury has been getting.
Yeah. And with those massive nades, like you said, it's also just a follow-up, right? Being able to have these lineups and making sure the Wrecking Ball and things like that are in place here, able to blow up these targets when they are antied in these situations. It's how Aura Fury is able to sort of muscle their way through the map, despite, you know, generally being at a disadvantage in a lot of situations here. So Wawa certainly playing it right, finally swapping over to the Kiri here. There's, again, the question is potentially too little too late here.
Yeah, it's this still the whole third point, but a minute and a half will go by very, very quickly. And then the question becomes, you know, when do you take this fight? The ideal point would have been that first real corner there where you have the high ground. But if you don't have access to that because you're unfortunately just kind of giving up the space and kind of resetting your team, your next bet is that kind of secondary corner with a long hallway. And hopefully that should give your supports the chance to be protected, but I really do need to see a bit more peel if that's going to be the case. I feel like the supports have just been kind of getting run over from this Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, when you have those supports under pressure, it certainly can be a thorn in the side to deal with here. And again, it's about the sort of lack of follow-up, right? Wawa Gaming, you have to be able to peel and get this Wrecking Ball to get this follow-up off of your supports here, because otherwise, you know, your supports could potentially try to go lethal, like you said there, as we are just simply in the ether state right now, waiting out this DC. It seems as though it was actually Potato Boy, so potentially the Wrecking Ball just too much here. Maybe somebody on Wawa Gaming really had enough, had to hit the quick switch flip, as they say.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, Hammond's a good mechanic, but even those machines do need a little bit of fine tuning. So, just giving them their allotted amount of time to get back in. And I will say, for this circuit royale in particular, we've seen quite a lot of different things. We've seen a lot of different takes on it. You know, this has been a bit of an atypical map. So, I really got to say, given Aura Fury's choice of map, it has kind of worked out in their favor, but we'll have to see because it hasn't, you know, getting past the A segment was as easy as 1, 2, 3, but getting into B was really so difficult. So these changes that coming through here for Wawa Gaming probably, well, they're making a difference already.
Yeah, making a difference for sure here. So now you're going to see an early hold for the defense here, trying to stage for it rather on these early high grounds. So Aura Fury not going to have as many opportunities to set up these deep nades here, as it is just going to be a bit of choke point gaming here, where Wawa Gaming is going to sort of dare Aura Fury to push through here. But it seems like they've at least pushed the D.Va back for the time being. Now going to get a slam onto the high ground here, looking for a little bit more, especially with this Dragon Blade ready to go in the small room. And now the Suzu was not enough. It will only connect onto one though, as Pigeon will fall here. But it seems like that may have finally broken open what was needed here to get the payload moving once again, as Aura Fury is about to enter overtime again, but at least they have the numbers.
The numbers, and they'll keep this rolling for the time being, quite literally. But especially now with both supports online, they'll have a Nano, they'll have this Trance, and a Pulse Bomb looking into this. So they'll get the high ground control and have the ultimate economy in their advantage here. Expect this Trance to come out for this particularly. Ooh, it was not well placed.
Yeah, that Transcendence doing what it can here, but unfortunately, like you said, it was just not in the right place at the right time here. So the Wrecking Ball rolling around feverishly, but considering the uphill battle that Aura Fury found themselves in with this comp, they get it pretty decently far into point C, all things considered.
Yeah, I think you're relatively happy with that. It could have been much worse considering how stalled out you kind of got in that B street segment. So such an odd position for that car, but we're not worried. But that's a decent amount. I mean, Aura Fury looks fairly good. Like I said, on paper, Festus has been doing a lot of work on that Farah. It's unfortunately we couldn't play that into C because that was probably where they looked the best, is being able to get full advantage of that Farah. You can see it there on the 21 and 5, really kind of putting out a ton of damage for the team. But, you know, Wawa Gaming, they look a little bit more rounded. You can see it. You know, they're dying a little bit better. They're dying a little more evenly, whereas Aura Fury, it's the DPS and the tank just kind of getting, you know, eventually just ganged up on, getting focused out, and then the supports just kind of, you know, Deadly Pants and Lord Shroom just kind of able to kind of live, get out in the back. I'm sorry, Bach and Gato are able to just kind of live and get out for the most part here. So you can tell they're kind of out of sync, but also still keeping themselves together. If they start falling out of sync, that's where I start to look really concerned, though, Mega, is because then you start losing the ability to take fights evenly, and everything just kind of snowballs out of the way, and Wawa kind of flip this on their head. They're going to match this in Yada. You know, I don't hate it. It's fine. The LRE was good, but I do think that if you kind of just have to match Discord Orb. It's too strong on its own. Everything else fairly good here. I see nothing really to complain about. Well, the Hanzo's not going to stay much more than just... the Hanzo's going to probably stay, I think, probably this first segment is my bet.
Yeah, see how many arrows the Hanzo can let fly here. Different Shimada brother for the side of Festus here. We'll have to see what can come of it, as Slowfield is thrown out onto Potato Boy. So now that Wrecking Ball having to hide for just a moment here, but it seems as though able to live for the time being, just constantly being menaced on the payload, giving time for this long-range damage duo, the Hanzo Sojourn, to try to find a pick here. But it seems as though it wasn't enough time, as Potato Boy finally is felled at the hands of Deadly Pants here. But, you know, DPS pick is able to reciprocate on the other side. So now with the payload moving, Wawa Gaming in control.
They'll try to push back everybody else. We'll see if they manage to get SA Pigeons good for the second, which again means they're going to stagger out here. Festus good for one of their own, but the damage is done means that this probably won't be a good retake for 2 blasts. So Wawa Gaming probably just going to get this on a very extended fight at this point.
Very extended indeed, with another kill onto Potato Boy. That might just
Pigeon,
be the end of
yes,
point A.
God.
Oh, I mean, the Deadeye doesn't give you the best resistance to an arrow to the brain, it seems. And a reason managed to find one onto Lord Shroom here. So this defense still has a chance to hold on as they have found even more in the fight here, with the Ramatra being the next one to fall thanks to that Discord Orb. The defense will actually be able to stave off this attack.
I would say maybe the respawns came in just enough time. That is the one advantage you have around this corner. So, I mean, Pigeon earned that Deadeye really fast but ambitiously. Festus is holding on to a dragon of their own. Watch for that to cut through because I don't see much else really going to stop it. It's just going to depend if can they get Lord Shroom's Immortality Field out first. That will be kind of the go signal for Festus to try to split this comp in half and try to get value. Oh, or just Potato's going to eat it. Okay, fine.
Another death for Potato here, but trying to be answered back with that beautiful Dragon Strike. Now Discord plus Storm Arrows trying to take down the opposite number, but Slashed is going to live, and Pigeon, thanks to the help of the Amp Matrix, is going to send my co-caster into monkey mode as the point will be gapped.
Those are pretty shots, last. Those are very, very good. You know, I kind of just didn't expect Pigeon just kind of deciding to win that, so still that's fine. Again, should be enough time for Aura Fury to get back together as a unit. They have both support ultimates plus mines and pulse bomb here. They have the firepower. They just have to weather out Deadly Pants' trance first, and that should go out fairly quickly once mines get dropped.
Yeah. And we'll have to see if those mines end up coming through here. Finally built up, like you said, but the Nano Boost will wear off here. Trying to follow up with the Tracer, but too little too late. A reason already missing from the fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, you're going to see this Annihilation end up getting expended for nothing. As it is a Pigeon walking forward here, connecting with shots on the both supports.
God.
This Cassidy can't miss here, and the payload's just going to keep on trucking.
I kind of feel like Aura Fury may be held back there, and the other problem with I see is just the consistent first deaths on the side of Aura Fury at being a fight. It's Potato Boy, it's Gato. I mean, there's finally the mines, but I don't think it's gonna. Wow.
Yeah, massive minefield again. The
Wow.
defense knows how to clutch up, and they do just that again, getting another massive stop at the very end of a point here. Wawa Gaming still has more to do.
Wow. You know what? I was just about to say I don't think those mines are going to be too impactful here at the end, but what do I know? Potato Boy is the Hammond player here. So thanks for proving me wrong. I appreciate that because Hammond's gotten a lot of value so far. Still trance overclock for Festus here. It's going to be tough though. I think again, if this disruption continues and Potato Boy just keeps the first down, they're just going to Aura Fury's just going to keep losing fights.
Take a drink of water every single time Potato Boy falls first in this series. So now you're seeing Festus try to step up here. Unfortunately, the OC in the face of adversity is not going to come away with much more than a whisper here. The Transcendence onto the objective is going to get the Wrecking Ball back into this one. But for how long once the Transcendence goes, it is going to be the end of the Wrecking Ball's life as well here. Some cleanup puts Wawa Gaming on to third point.
Yeah, no ult to save them there. Beautifully done. 3 minutes to get through that golden box of victory. They are already cruising last. Momo Monkey still holding onto a blade. There's nothing in the way of it here. The only hope is that Potato Boy gets these mines first and gets usage of them because Momo Monkey has been fairly efficient with the blade, but just doesn't have the high ground control. So watch out for them. They're gonna kind of decide how this plays out.
Having to see how it works out. Deadly Pants solo HP finally followed up with Festus here. But again, Potato Boy missing from the engagement. You can't miss your tank time and time again here. So now with even more picks, the payload barreling towards that checkpoint, you're going to have to start chucking bodies onto it if you're Aura Fury. I don't even know if the Wrecking Ball makes it back in time. You're hoping Potato Boy will with the minefield as well. Chucks out the minefield, but a Dragon Blade is going to finish out Bach here. Goes into the mine, so now we have a 3v3 on the cart here. The Annihilation going to make it brutal for anybody on the defense to try to stand up on the objective, even asleep. The Ramatra is a menace here, and it's a 1v1, a Nano Genji against the Ramatra. There's only so much you can do trying to get over to the objective. The Moira uses the fade, but is it going to be enough? The stall is there to at least get the ball back in play, but is going to cost Bach their life. Now the Tracer, the next one to fall here, a Wrecking Ball on full HP. That's quickly depleting for the umpteenth time this match. Wawa Gaming get it over the line and find themselves on match point.
bit of desperate angles, but I think we understand the Aura Fury Ramatra. I'm sorry, the Wawa Gaming Ramatra ban earlier. I mean, it's hard to argue about this last because Potato Boy does look very good. This is that 4-piece, beautiful slam timed into the mines. It's very clear that Potato Boy is doing a ton of work for this squad. But the problem is I feel like we're not getting the rest of the team to necessarily back a lot of that up. It feels like, you know, Potato Boy has been kind of the feast or famine of this. They are either going in and getting 4 or getting, you know, or getting picked immediately and then causing the fight to snowball and rush back. So the tanks have really, really been kind of the dominant force of this game so far. It's just been impressive to see how impactful they have been.
Yeah, absolutely massively impactful here. But, you know, you still have to just see how Wawa Gaming is playing this. It's absolutely incredible to see here. And doing any and everything in this matchup. Aura Fury on the brink, facing elimination here, but they will get a moment to sort of get their bearings, figure something out. We'll throw it to a quick break while they deliberate on the next map and bans. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. XYBA hired them today, so that way they could hire us, me, Megalast, that Soav. And so far, that was probably one of my best intros from break I've ever done, if I do say so myself.
That was fire. That was fire.
Welcome on back. It's late at night. We got an NA, a diamond tier playoff lower bracket semifinal here. Wawa Gaming currently up to a 1 map away from sending Aura Fury home. And so it's been a very interesting match so far.
Yeah, I can say we've seen quite a lot of things, but I think the definite thing we've figured out is that, well, one, Potato Boy is very good at Wrecking Ball, but counterpoint, Pigeon is very good at Cassidy. So even just from those 2 points alone, we can kind of understand why Wawa Gaming is kind of coming out on top. But it is match point here on Game 3 in the lower finals. It is Aura's pick, and considering they chose to bring us to Circuit Royale, which is a bit of an odd pick, I don't know what they're going to do next. We kind of assumed maybe they're going to try to play some more odd ones. Oh, we do know. It's going to be Runasapi, another one where you can get away with ball. So we kind of avoided the stereotypical, dive maps. We've missed our Runasapi or Gibraltar, but we missed our Gibraltar and we've missed our Numbani. But Runasapi is a place where you can get a lot of value out of ball and tracer. So I see the vision. The problem here is that Aura Fury is in a tough situation on the ban side. They kind of have to just pick a tank if they don't want to let ball get banned out, which is probably like the #1 target. And if ball falls, I kind of think the match is over, Les.
Yeah, I mean, Aura Fury has been reliant on the Wrecking Ball. It could also explain why they've been banning out tanks so consistently here, just to sort of keep that Wrecking Ball protected. But even if you can get it off onto this map here and say you win it, it's just going to mean the next map you're going to have to show some level of versatility, as the Wrecking Ball can be banned out then. But Aura Fury actually potentially opening themselves up to it now, banning out the Lucio. Oddly, this does make sense, as so far, despite playing a heavy dive comp, they really have been reluctant to bring out the Frog themselves.
Yeah, there's been no speed to go things up, whereas Wawa has used a little bit of it here and there, so I guess that makes the most sense. I mean, I just assume it's the ball, right? Like, I don't see a world where Wawa Gaming is really afraid of too much else. The only other problem I could maybe have seen was the Ana, but it just has to be ball here, right? This feels like a calculated trap. Sojourn, okay.
Yeah. It could have been a trap, but it seems as though both sides have not fallen for the bait here. But yeah, Sojourn ban out here for Runasapi means that it kind of enables Aura Fury to play exactly what they've been playing here, and it's going to be on Wawa Gaming to be able to sort of step up and show that they have something that can actually handle this ball once and for all.
I mean, yeah, it does, but I think the other part of that is that I mean, Pigeon's still playing Cassidy. Momo Monkey was over on the Sojourn for a while, so I don't know that we're really necessarily going to see that. And we do have a substitution coming in, so Blank is going to be coming in here. They are a flex player, but they also have a lot of time on Wrecking Ball, so we'll have to see if maybe this is just a look to something else. Maybe this is bringing in your more your groundy poundy tank player, your brawl player. We'll kind of have to see, because when you bring in a tank player, you do change so much of your team. That's pretty much your primary shot caller. That's kind of your decision maker in a lot of cases. So we'll have to see if the substitution is something that keeps them alive.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see. But with the switch with Blink coming in instead here, that could also indicate that the ball just isn't going to be on the field here. That being said, when you have this Ramacha look, as well as finally the Freya potentially being unleashed here, this could be Aura Fury finally adapting and showing a new style.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like you would have wanted the Lucio with this. You're kind of now forced into a poke with Aura Fury, and Wawa Gaming, I mean, they're just they're bringing out the Mauga. They're doing exactly what they did on game 1 in Control. I mean, Wawa Gaming, we've seen them do better here initially, so I'm kind of concerned for Aura Fury. We're gonna have to see if these changes really make an impact.
We'll have to see what can be done here. Blink already missing here. Blink and you miss it. The fight is over here, and it is in favor of Wawa Gaming here, who with this close quarters Malga comp, able to do exactly what's needed.
Yeah. I mean, so to be fair, Wawa Gaming are playing a literal anti-tank comp. Like, the Malga wins tank fights demands that you have to answer on the tank line, and they'll be responded with a Malga back. But then you have the backup of the Reaper and Cassidy, who just pelt damage into these tanks. So we'll have to see if the Festus Pharah is enough to hit from the distance while the rest of the team allows Blank to kind of get in there and survive this tank duel.
Survival's going to be the name of the game here, but it seems like that's not on the table anymore here. Forward spawns are going to be secured off the back of that massive pick here. Pigeon going for a little bit more here, finding the Ana. And look how far forward Wawa's already holding. Slashed on this upper staircase. Not a fear in the world.
No, they know they have the angles. The Kiri has a sight to them. I mean, this just seems like everything's going right. Pigeon leading the lobby once again with that Deadeye. Hasn't gotten a ton of value out of it, but has gotten enough here. So, again, we'll just have to see. Slash Castle's the first victim today.
Yeah, finally the shoe on the other foot that you getting a chance for Aura Fury to get back into this one. Some well-placed rockets. Ooh, a bit of a 180 flick around, if you will. Tedley Pants decides to take two, and so this fight that Aura Fury should have won handily is now just one with 2 members standing.
It does push us back to the middle from that, but like you said, it makes this a lot more tentative. Good thing for our Fury, though, they do have a barrage coming in. No movement as we don't have the first perks yet, so we'll have to see if Pigeon now keeps their eye in the sky. Blank's just done. There's no help. Where are you going, man? Where are you going, my guy?
Trying to go in, looking for a little bit more. Ends up catching the anti-nade, has to run in tow, gets the Suzu as well here. Meanwhile, the entire time the bot moving back into place, and so it's like Wawa never really left here. So now back adding meters to their already massive lead here. Tons of tools in the bank to work with. You're just trying to see what else they can come away with. A nade connects onto Slash, plus the tidal blast here. Amazing sleep here, making sure nobody else follows up. The barrage going to be able to connect onto one member, get the damage onto the rest here. And a very sketchy fight, but Aura Fury able to turn the tides.
It costs 2, but it would cost 2 very important ones. I can't really allow it to get past that 100-meter mark because that kind of tends to be the point of no return here. So, I mean, effective. You did what you needed to do, and at least there's 5 as we head back to mid here. So Wawa Gaming entering with a cage fight of their own and a high noon. It's going to be tough because that Death Blossom needs to come right now, and there it is.
Comes with the help of the Deadeye. Momo Monkey will ultimately go down for it, and Blink trying to stay alive with the help of this Nano Boost actually is going to be able to turn the fight, it seems here. It is just a Malga against 2 supports, but at the very least the forward spawns have been reset, so Aura Fury not going to have to contend with that right away as Blink finally falls, but it's just the supports left standing.
The good thing for Aura Fury here is that no team is really chaining fight wins together. We're kind of just trading back and forth. The bad news is that it's constantly been on your territory, and finally the 3 members of Aura Fury will push it back and force away the stragglers. But it's up to a reason now. There's Ebola up, and it's going to be kind of hard to really get. You're not going to get a ton of value on it, so you have to try to get what you can. Hopefully that pull gets several, and it does.
Yeah, lots of massive amount of damage being chucked in, and the Suzu burn means that Slash is going to stay antied for long enough for the follow-up to be there. So now things going from bad to worse for the side of Wawa here. This Cassidy, not long for this world, meeting the might of the miniguns, and with the Wu Yang now trying to live here, going around. There's only so much you can do in these last moments as you're finally taken care of.
It's fine. Stall it out. It's about 5 minutes. You're about halfway through the game at this point. So I think that's the right call. Just throw yourself at it, considering you're trying to keep this bot as far away from your side as you can. Wawa Gaming now with both support ultimates up, though. I mean, we should just be able to kind of overrun, if not give us kind of a counter to the cage incoming from Blank. So, you know, again, I feel like we just aren't respecting, you know, we need to kind of be aware of that and also respect Festus, because Festus with that cage will be so punishing if they're not dealt with before that cage drops.
The cage is now dropping, however. No barrage combo just yet. Now here it comes, trying to connect. Finds one onto the Wu Yang here before Festus is dealt with here. And Blink, now the focus down target as we find ourselves in a 3v3 situation, but no supports on the side of Wawa means that these health bars are limited here. Slash is finding out here, but I guess if you just get all the kills, your health bars, no healing doesn't matter.
Yeah, I say that's exactly what Wawa Gaming is focused on. Their lineup wants to do damage. They are worrying about winning duels, and that is it. And they have been doing that and keeping themselves on their side of the map. But again, they don't have to push. 87 is plenty fine. They can just sit here and trade fights back and forth to keep it at mid. That's all they need to do. Kitsune is going to be pretty defining in this, so Gato's got to respond now.
Looking to see when that response comes out. There it is from Gato. But it is just going to sound the retreat for the rest of Wawa here. You throw out that bolo shot, connects onto a few members. No eliminations just yet. Meanwhile, the Deadeye now trying to zone people back, but can't get back in time here. Death Blossom now also a massive zoning tool here, but already shortchanged are the members of Aura's Fury who are trying to stay alive. Blink does not want to lose their life, but it seems as though that's no longer a decision in their hands, as 87 meters will now continue to climb for the side of Wawa.
I gotta say, I respect Wawa Gaming's slow play to this. They take a little bit of space, give it up until they have full numbers, and then just re-win the fight. Kind of just showing that they're not in a rush to win this, but they are past the 100-meter mark, and they have decided they're going to win this. Cage into the Nano is a tough place to be. Watch for the Nano Barrage coming in. It should win out over this Cage.
That's the hope and dream here, but Festus still has to build it. 99 now, it's officially online here, so that Nano Barrage can come through at a moment's notice here. The rest of Wawa just backing up besides this Malga, though. They're holding the corner, sort of enticing Aura Fury to walk forward, find that moment. Festus can't really see an opening here. Needs a little bit of healing. The healers have to start connecting shots, and now with the cage fight, they are trying to see if they can finish off onto the Malga. They do get that one, but it is traded out here. A massive investment for Aura Fury that barely results in an even trade. So now looking for a bit more as Blink runs forward into this fight, trying to see what can be found onto a Reaper, and it's going to be the case. Here's the Deadeye trying to zone, trying to get some damage in. He's going to be met with some crossbow bolts at the wrong time here, but finally a second member has fallen, make it a third, and it seems as though Aura Fury has finally put it together, and that nade, the exclamation point to end this one.
That's a bouncy nade for you. That's a fantastic nade. Beautifully done. They needed this now, but they have to chain these fights together. 2 minutes left, and Aura Fury has never really won one back to back. It was a high commit of ultimates just to get back to mid here. And suddenly we're looking at, a high charge Reaper, Lord Shroom. She's going to send it. She's going to send it right in, so watch for Momo Monkey to follow this up on this Death Blossom. They're just going to look for the position.
Trying to look for it here as the bolo shot's going to go out in the backline. 1-for-1 trade. The Cassidy and Freyas are gone. That Death Blossom goes big, ends up taking out Gato, but Blink has the cardiac overdrive there in time here. Now with it expiring, though, no more HP regen for the Malga's miniguns, and now it is just a Pharah on their lonesome. Festus can't do more in this fight, and again, Aura Fury unable to chain it together.
No, not quite able to put it together and not quite able to get value out of those ults, kind of work those ult combos together they have floating around. I mean, Festus continues to build barrages so quickly, but again, just barely able to find the value in them. Gets maybe one or two, but immediately gets punished. I want to see them get more resources for this, because they are kind of holding this.
They're holding on for the moment's notice, and they already are getting 2 kills. Aura Fury sent packing towards their spawn rooms, running for the hills here. Meanwhile, Wawa Gaming not just looking at keeping their lead, but extending it in potentially into a map completion here to send them home in style. It's going to be interesting. We're already pushing the spawn room here.
Wow.
Trying to see what can be done. A barrage just to take Slashed out, but Festus will end up paying for it. Too close to splash damage with their life. Blink taking some Hellfire shotguns to the face, combined with a Deadeye here. Tracer now trying to blink around, gets one onto Pigeon, needs a little bit more to get some respawners in until Festus in range of those Hellfire shotguns is just a little too much with only 1 meter left. The Wrecking Ball can't make it out in time, and Wawa Gaming dispatches Aura Fury with a 3-0.
Last at the beginning of this, we kind of said this has been a very by the numbers bracket, and the numbers continue to fall as they do. The number 3 pretty much dominantly showing why they want to keep fighting on in. And I think that kind of slow play through this entire map really tells you just how, how much they're willing to go the distance here. They're able to play the game they want, set the paces, run the Mauga, force the mirror, and just kind of get everything exactly how they wanted it to be for that and for their comp design of just making sure that they had the firepower to win the tank battle. They're rewarded and they get to go on into the loser winners final.
So Wawa Gaming was the number 4 seed.
Oh, they were 4. Oh, well, sorry. Well, sucks to be me, I guess. Never mind. Upset, big upset. Never mind.
the by the numbers. Listen, it's fine. Happens. Yeah.
Look, that's how sure of it I was, though. That's how sure I was that they were a number 3. They played like a number 3, a number 2, a number 1 in this division. It felt, I was so confident that's how it was.
Listen, it's obviously tense here at the top, but Wawa Gaming does manage to come out ahead here. Aura Fury, their season is over and done with, but hopefully they will have some parting words for us. We're going to go ahead, throw to another break, get some interviews set up with both Aura Fury and Wawa Gaming to hear about how the season went and how it could continue to go. So don't go anywhere. We'll get that all set up and be right back.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Hello, we are back as promised with some words of wisdom. We have Blink and a Reason from Aura Fury with us. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, both of you.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, not happy to be in the losers interview, but you know.
The exit interview, excuse me. It's an exit interview.
Exit interview, not losers.
For losers.
Listen. You know, regardless, you're here and we appreciate it. Now, looking at this match specifically, you know, lower bracket pressure on the line here. How did y'all feel going into this one in terms of the matchup?
If I'm being completely honest, I felt really good about the matchup. We went into this. I'll say we as a team, we went into this super confident. I'll be genuine. This is half an insult, half not. Those guys are nerds. They studied every match we've ever played, and their picks and bans were very evident of that, and their comps that they're running. So, I mean, good on them. Like, kudos to them. They studied super hard for this match, and it made it definitely showed in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like we were. Yeah, I felt. You're right, because it felt like some of those bans, like you said, were very targeted. As we were kind of like walking through and kind of figuring it out, it was really interesting because we were kind of sitting there being like, oh, like when did they take the ball out? Like that's been such a prominent piece of the puzzle. When are they going to do it? But it seems like you said they just it was targeted. It seems like they knew exactly what they wanted to do. So what were you guys like? What were the adaptations you guys were trying to make in the middle of those? You know, in after game 1 and game 2, like. What was your guys' thoughts like trying to figure out what was going wrong?
For me at least, what really threw us off game 1 was that Pharah ban. We scrimmed almost entirely the ball Pharah on Lijiang Tower, and it was literally like everything we had played was ball Pharah, because normally people didn't pay attention to Pharah being on the comp. People were paying attention to the ball. And everyone was trying to focus that ban, trying to find that ban. But whenever you force ban a tank getting first ban, a lot of people just kind of, their plan fell apart. They didn't know what to do after that. But this team, like I said, they focused super hard and banned the Pharah. So we tried to make the adaptations with the Genji, which is what we played on the one sub map, and we couldn't make it work everywhere. Second map came around. We tried to make our comp work without the Soj, or sorry, not without Soj. What they banned on
the
second
Freya.
map? I'm trying to remember.
The Freya.
Yeah, we tried to make second map work without the Freya, which is yet again the only thing we've run on it, because everyone was way more worried about the ball.
Yeah.
So I'll say this, they at every corner they had us they were one step ahead of us when it came to that stuff. Like they were super prominent on that, and we were trying our best to make the counter move and try something we haven't really ran before that was kind of close, and just didn't work out for us in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's tough when you feels like you're always behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways. I mean, let's double back to a couple of those things, because the one thing that we were kind of shocked about, and I think that at least I'm looking forward to, was I'll save that question for another time. Let's go to next season, because obviously, unfortunately, you guys are done for right now. But I guess I don't want to say like what have you learned going into the next season, but that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, what have you learned at the end of it all? Do you have like a couple? Is there anybody you're like really excited to play? Like, what did you take away from all this going into the next season?
I have a lot of work to do. I think I'm going to be working on my ability to coordinate with my ball mostly. I love playing that tracer ball comp, but I got a lot of improving to do.
Not easy. It's not easy.
I'm kind of in a half coach, half player role for the team. So I definitely think a lot of what we're going to be focusing on going into this next season is going to be, just like Reason said, kind of working on our ball comp a little bit, making that engage significantly more consistent than we have it right now. Because when it's consistent, it's great, but some matches like today, we definitely fell short in a few areas, and it made it to where even our ball was saying it on Circuit Royale. He was like, "Damn, I feel absolutely useless right now," and that's just how it is sometimes.
Hey man,
but we're gonna work on that.
Don't call out my potato boy like that.
Potato Boy had some highs and lows. He had some really highs and lows in that game, but I could imagine that. Yeah, I could see it.
No, but we're definitely gonna work on that a lot. Another thing is we're gonna work on hero pools a little bit more, because we're definitely there were some heroes that we really didn't even practice at all going into the season, and then when the meta kind of hard defined itself into these sets of heroes, we were, by that time we went, oh, we're too deep at this point. There's no point to playing that character now. Just keep doing what we're doing and seeing if we can force it through to the end.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, listen, it's great to hear that there is a game plan in place here. Absolutely amazing season from y'all. Before we send you out, though, final chance here for the season. If you want to make any shout outs, anything like that, this will be your time to do so.
I'll start. Well, everybody on the team, obviously not. I want to shout out our manager, Baruti. She's awesome, and she does a lot of work for us that we don't thank her enough for. So thank you, Baruti. And I want to shout out my man, Potato Boy. It's the hardest thing in the game, but coordinating and getting better at communicating with you is like so fun.
I want to give shout outs to Festus. I've always said it. Festus is, to me, one of the best players on this roster. And that's not even due to just skill. It's also his consistency. That guy is extremely consistent. He will put up the same numbers in one game as he will into another game, and no matter how anyone else is playing, he's still going to be putting up those numbers. Obviously, I've shout out Peabok every time, but I'm going to shout out Peabok again. That's my boy back there. And then can't forget Gato. I hate that guy, but he's all right on the roster.
Oh, alrighty. Hey, listen, all the love, all the appreciation. You love to see it here, and hopefully we will be seeing more of Aura Fury in the next season and beyond. But y'all go ahead, get yourselves some rest, because it is late. Y'all got to schedule matches earlier than this. I don't know what this schedule is. Never happen again.
We have West Coast guys with jobs, okay? So we have to wait for them to get out.
Fair enough.
I see. All right, y'all have yourselves a lovely evening.
Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely, you too.
Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Oh my god, the humbleness. You love to
you
see
respect
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but go ahead, Zoab.
I was gonna say, but there's nothing humble. But sometimes the humbleness isn't in losing, but it's also in just being a good winner. And I think we've got GFL coming in from Wawa Gaming. GFL, welcome in.
Thank you.
Yeah, so obviously, amazing matchup for you guys coming away with a 3-0 here, and just sort of getting right into the nitty-gritty. We got to hear from the losers first that apparently they believe you guys did your research on this one. If you want to maybe talk about the prep into this match.
Well, lots of hours were put into this game. Definitely spent quite a bit of time on this Overwatch, Maybe I neglected school a little bit, but it had to be done.
I mean, yeah, it sounds, I say, between the days scrimming and just putting everything together, you guys definitely showed the work was done and well earned. I mean, talk to me a little bit about the bands in particular, because like we'd said, the work was done, but even they said it. Everything felt so targeted. Was it just the knowledge of what the team was going to play? Was it just, how did you guys come into, just these perfect kind of situations of just the bans and the counter heroes just kind of coming together so perfectly?
I think we just have a really good team synergy, and because of that, we are able to just adapt to different situations, and those bans, we just got lucky with that, I think. But definitely the practice we've been putting in is what has mattered most.
Fair enough. Well, you did earn yourself a step up the bracket into Shelby's team, and I know you guys have played Death Blossom already. That was the guys who knocked you down. But I mean, have you? Tell me a little bit. Are you guys feeling good going into the losers finals game? Any fears? Anything you guys are thinking about besides just kind of cruising your way back into the grand finals?
I think we're definitely cautiously optimistic, based off of this current season. But we'll continue to put in the good work and just practice what we've been doing up until this point.
Ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, fair enough.
Exactly here. And so before we send you off, if there's any shout outs or anything like that you want to make, now would be the time to do so.
I would love to shout out the Gobbler, R.I.P. the Gobbler. Truly greatest tragedy of our lifetime. It's really sad, but that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for the time. We'll let you go back and get with everybody and celebrate. So thank you so much, GFL.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just like that, another match is done and dusted in the books. So it's over and done here. Just very interesting. We expected this to kind of go back and forth, but a one-sided affair leaves us with only 3 teams left in the NA Diamond bracket.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a heck of a season down there in Diamond, and the final boss, Death Blossom, still awaits at the end, and we'll see those 2 games as this weekend rounds the corner. There's still tons and tons of games. I know you and I are on at least another 2 this weekend alone, so there are plenty of games here across all the divisions. And let me tell you, Lass, if you have not been paying attention to Masters Open in both EU and NA, there are some banger games going on in there.
Absolutely banger matchups here, but like you said, those will be on the weekend, another day, another time. So in the meantime, that'll end us here tonight. Of course, shout out to Soab, my lovely co-caster, Thoromia, my lovely producer, Mara, my lovely observer.
Mara,
Everybody
I guess.
is lovely. Listen, the Mara hate is so easy that I was gonna switch it up and just be
Respect.
nice, genuinely.
I respect.
But no, it's fine. We can send the haterade. F Mara. Can we actually get a bunch of F Maras in the chat? And with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here. Everyone have a lovely night, and see you later.
Lots of love.